Hey everybody, Trienne here, your leadership performance coach. I'm super excited to bring you another series of intentional women making an impact. One of my favorite people is my guest on here today, and I just want to share that this must be just magic in the making because today is also her birthday. So you are welcome to leave her a little happy birthday message down below, and that way she can feel celebrated. You know we love to do that inside the community. So I've got Jill Richards on with me today. She is a teacher at my girls' local school, where you guys know that I go to teach character education. And one of the things that I love about being able to go into the school is not only do I kind of get a feel for the school where my kiddos are at, but I am also getting the opportunity to spend some time with these teachers and spend some time with the kids that are in the school. And what I love about that is you really start to feel the culture. You really start to feel the vibe of the school. And Jill's been a teacher there for a couple of years. And instantly I connected with her and said, this woman is awesome. She's making an impact every day with her students and the people that she works with. So I'm going to welcome Jill on in a second for another episode of Intentional Women Making an Impact. All right, welcome on. How exciting.
Hello. So thank you for that lovely intro. The funny part is that I lost connection during some of that stuff, so hopefully...
It was all good stuff. It was all good
Oh,
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
I lost it. Go ahead. You go.
That's okay. So I was like, of course, talking you up because that's what I do anyway, because I love you so much. But, and I feel like I just know like surface level of Jill just from hanging around with you at the school. It's still uncomfortable for me to call teachers by their first name. So if for a second I call you Miss Richards, it's out of love.
Aw, that's so cute. No worries.
Still weird for me. Even some of my teachers that are like from high school, they'll come into the restaurant and I'll be like, hey, Mr. Stevens, how are you doing? Anyway, so why don't you just start out by introducing yourself to our community, share, about your family, how you got into teaching, and we'll kind of go from there.
Gosh, how many minutes have we got? Okay, so yeah, you had mentioned I did have connection. You were saying I've been at Quincy. This is my third year. I'm not new to teaching. I started in 1990, which was a few years back. And I've had some interesting experiences within those years. I love the fact that I started teaching. Well, my mom was a teacher. My grandparents were educators, so I kind of came into it naturally. And so it's kind of become a culture. I actually have 3 children, and 2 are going into teaching. So it's just what it is, I think, sometimes. But I've taught middle school for 7 years, and I've taught 5th grade for 7 years. And then I actually moved out west to Montana, which was part of my path. So that was a little bit of a departure because I wasn't in the classroom then. But I feel like I'm bunny trailing now. But actually, I did something really special that really impacted my teaching. When I came back to Michigan, went back into the classroom only this time. So I've had middle school, 5th grade. I went out west, and I want to mention it because it really impacted me. And when I came back, I taught early L, so Head Start and preschool. And kindergarten. So I kind of had both of the bookends, right? And so when I came to Quincy in 3rd grade, I'm like, oh, this is the sweet spot. It's awesome. Although I've learned so much from different grade levels. But truly, it's been like a ministry to me. I consider my classroom the mission field. I always have. And I just see, Mother Teresa said it best, if you want to change the world, you love on your family. And these kids are like my family, and they always have been. And so, yeah, so it's not my first rodeo, but I always feel like I'm learning, especially when I change grade levels. But it's really given me to appreciate child development.
That gives me such goosebumps when you said that, because it does feel like that in your classroom. It feels like a family. And, even when I'm looking in the background, I've been in there a number of times, but even looking at your classroom from the background, like you really try to mold things to those students and what they need. And it's not like, this is a school and this is our structure and this is what we do because we've always done it. You're like, what can I do differently? And it's such a wonderful, warm feeling in your class. It's a very understanding of the kids. And even from, where you and Miss Cronkite stand in the corner when they walk in and you're like, good morning, good morning. All these students are stopping to give you hugs, and it's past students. And tell me a little bit about how you feel like you've created that culture and maybe some things that got in the way that you guys were able to get through.
You mentioned intentionality, living with intentionality, and that's it right there, is being intentional. And really, gosh, I wish I could talk clearer because these earmuff things are kind of messing me up a little bit. But
it does me too. I totally get it. Yeah.
You've got your French fries on, right?
I do.
Yeah. So anyway, I said that it was a mission field, and I really believe that. I try to cover my kids in positive messages, but really, this poster, it's tattered now, and the laminations come off, but it says, "You are valuable. Don't let anybody make you feel otherwise." And my classroom exudes that. I think I learned this from early childhood. When you walk into a room, it's the physicality and the messages and the ambiance and the atmosphere and the vibe. It really it matters. And so at the beginning of the year, I get so stressed out because I want my room to be just so, because I want them to get loving and positive messages. But I did a training a few years ago called Capturing Kids' Hearts, and it really was a game changer for me. Even I've already been teaching over 20 years, and it's all about relationships. And if you ever go through leadership training, I did a Brene Brown book study with my old staff called Dare to Lead, and it was amazeballs. And one of the things that they had us do was figure out what our one word is. And my one word is relationships. That's it. Bottom line. That's the most important thing for me. And that is for my teaching. I'm not supposed to say that. Like, I don't want any of my administrators, but that's really what's important to me, are relationships. My data might not be perfect, but by golly, we have I have strong relationships with my kids, and that's it, And of course, I want to help them improve their literacy skills and their math skills, but really, I want them to know how loved and valuable they are. And in Capturing Kids' Hearts, they're big on rituals. And I got that from my early childhood. And one of the rituals we always start with is good things. It's a thing, man. We have a routine, we have a structure, because I know kids need that. But in the beginning of the day, I teach them how to do that. And I'm like, all right, what's your good thing? And basically what happens is that the full thing is, what's something good in your life going on right now? And the kids start to share. And we go around the room, and we share anything that's going on good in their life. And I try to teach them that it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm going to Disney World. It's I'm trying to think right now. Oh, one of my good things this morning, it was so cute, is one of my cute little girls said, my kitten fell asleep on me last night. It was adorable. Just little things like that. They've totally got it now because it's January. So they understand that it's not something that is a big thing to be a good thing. And I try to tell them that, it's really, it's wonderful to start our day with positive vibes and remembering to be grateful for, big and little things. So we start the day with good things, and then we end the day with Go Be Amazing. And I have a poster in my room that says Go Be Amazing. I started that a few years ago, really crazy, and it only takes a minute. Like, I send them off. You start the day, you get them with the positive, and you send them off with the positive. And so at the end of the day, usually, like, it's a dismissal and it's a little cray-cray. But at one point I'll holler out, hey, what are we going to go be? And the kids yell back, Go Be Amazing! And then we leave, and that's what it is. And I started that even with kindergartners, and it got to where the kindergartners were dying to be the one that says the prompt, what are we going to go be? And so it's cool. And so last year in Quincy, the Quincy kids are amazing. I just love the friendships I've made with them and the connection I've made with them. Last year, last year's kids start coming up to me this morning, like they'll come up and say, "What's your good thing?" Because they know I'm always going to call them out on that. So my kids from last year will walk up and they'll say, "My good thing is," and this is, they're in fourth grade now, and I think that rituals like that create connection, and connection is the basis of positive relationships.
Well, and I also think when we're looking at that, the comfortability of stability and rituals and sometimes I think that that's what kids need to feel safe also.
Yes.
They kind of have to know what's coming next, like what to expect. And
absolutely.
I remember I had a kid that worked with me at the restaurant, and years later he came back and he said, I didn't love school. I wasn't good at school. He said the only thing that got me through was when I would go in the classroom. I was never paying attention to the teacher. He said he was a high school student at the time. He's like, I just looked around the room and I saw all these signs and positive affirmations. And he's like, I would just read those things over and over and over. And you know what? Now that kid is like traveling the world as part of a band, and he's their marketing manager. I mean, like, he is smart, and he might not have been that kid who was perfect in school, but because of that environment still being safe for him and inspiring for him, he went on to do some great things and still will.
Yes, safe and inspired. That all goes together. You're absolutely right. Because if kids feel safe, they can release and be themselves and take risks and all those good things. If they're appreciated and loved, yeah, absolutely. In the mornings, what you see, you're not here in the building on Fridays, but this is the picture that you talked to me about. So some of my kids from last year will come and they want to do the Go Be Amazing thing, and they group up. And it was every day. And I said, okay, guys, we're blocking the hallway. We've got to do something. And I said, okay, on Fridays, let's come and do it together. And so they'll wait and they'll look around the corner and they'll try to get as many. I counted, the most I had was 11. But they come up on Fridays and I stick my hand in and I say, go be amazing on 3. 1, 2, 3, go be amazing. And it's just, it was their idea, that just means everything to me, that they know they can come back and they can still do those, we can still participate in those rituals even though we're not together. And sometimes it's the little things. Can I tell a really fast story? It was stinking cute. It filled my bucket. Oh my gosh. And again, we don't know the seeds that we sow, and you just never know these crazy little things that the kids will attach and remember. But I had this really cute girl, her name's Samantha, last year, and I love nicknames too. Samalama Ding Dong, and then she was Samalama, and now it's Lama for short. So she comes up to me last Thursday, and she's got this huge grin on her face, and she's holding this Ziploc bag with combos inside, those little snack combos, and she just had this biggest smile on her face, and I said, those are combos. I love combos. And she said, yes, and they're pizza combos. And I figured she'd have her hand down and go on her way, and she just kept holding them. And I finally figured, I'm like, what's going on? Me? And she said, yes, remember that one day last year, when you said we could have a picnic for snack, and she said, I remember you asked me for a couple of my pizza combos. And I'm like, oops, I don't normally do that. And Mrs. Cronkite was standing there, and she starts laughing like, oh, you're busted. And she said, I remembered that you like pizza combos. And so when my mom brought them home, I said, Mom, we've got to make a bag for Miss Richards because she really likes pizza combos. And I'm like, this was a year. It was, it's crazy.
It is. But when you create that connection with them, you truly have that relationship, right? That they feel so special that you remember those small things about them, that they start to remember those small things for you too. And it's, oh gosh, it's such a gift. We never know. We just literally never know.
We never know. And I do want to put out in the community, a thing that changed my life too is that when I lived out west, this is super sad, but I couldn't afford to teach. And so I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters for 6 years. I can't even tell you how that changed my life and how important caring relationships can be for a child. I was in charge of the high school mentoring program So I wasn't in the classroom anymore, but I got to match high school students with an elementary student, and they met once a week. And we didn't do any schoolwork. It was not academic. It was all relationship building. And that just changed me on such a deep, deep level. How important support.
Is that what you were talking about doing in Montana?
Yes, that's what I did. And I always joke. I said, if I ever hit the lotto, I'm going to open up my own agency of it. And the sad thing is they're losing dollars. They used to have one in Hillsdale where I live now, and they don't have the funds for it. They were going through Jackson. Now Jackson even has to go through Fort Wayne. I don't even know if it's active anymore. And
I was before I had children of my own and I was still managing the restaurant, I did Big Brothers Big Sisters, and it's out of Fort Wayne now that covers this area, and we actually stopped when Fort Wayne took it over because it stopped meshing, like they had communication issues. But I still have contact with the girl that I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters with. I know, which is, Tegan. I've been married now for 15 years, and it was prior to that. And I would just go and have lunch with the girl, and we would do art projects. And you're right, it's not about tutoring. It was about making that one kid, they looked forward to it every week, and it made them feel special.
Yep. It was incredible. It was incredible, some of the miracles I witnessed. And
it just shows that, there's a lot of people in our community that are in, what you would call like a typical, my French fries fell, what would be in like a typical like 9 to 5 or something like that. And I think about where you're saying, be the best version of yourself, bring your best version of yourself to what you're doing right now. It might not be ideal to what you want in the future. Maybe you're working towards another job. Like I know you went to go get your master's. So it's not what you want right now, and something different is coming down the road, not bigger, not better, but different. And how we can take the experiences that we're doing now and prepare ourselves for those next opportunities.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about going through your master's, and because I know that you're, obviously so involved in your classroom, how were you able to kind of balance those?
All I could think of, the one word that comes to my mind is grind. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was a grind. And it was tricky, but I did it. And one of the things my kids are older. I have 3 wonderful children. Madeline is 26. Ethan's 23, right, Ethan? And Jonah just turned 19. And so I'm somewhat of an empty nester. So I couldn't imagine that have young children still and are working full time and some kind of coursework. Wow, amazing. But I just kept going and kept going. The school I went through, it was an online program, and it was nice because it was Grand Canyon University, and you take they were 8-week-long courses, and seriously, you finish a course, and the very, very next day, you start the next one, and there's no breaks. You have to go for a year and a half. So I got my degree in a year and a half, but I tell you what, it was intense. And so it's kind of a toss-up, but I just felt like, that was an option for me, just given my current lifestyle now. So I'm super proud of that. I mean, to go back in my mid-50s, and get it done. I was really proud of myself for that. And I talked to the kids about it too. Oh my gosh, my students were they were big supporters of me, and would support me and cheer me on when I'd start to get tired. And so and that's the thing, I love bringing myself into the classroom. I mean, we're together all day long. They know about my pets. They know about my kids. They know the funniest stories. And like you said, we have all these inside jokes. You can't say the word today in my room without them going, today,
And what's funny is when I go now into those 4th grade classes, because I know that there's like random class, and I'll go today, and then the kids that were in your class will go today.
Yeah. I know, and they might do the index. Yeah, I'm sure they're probably trying to keep it on the down low, so they're like,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. So I know, Tegan jokes with me sometimes. She'll be like, Mom, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, yeah, I really love what I do. I don't really see myself as someone who necessarily will just stop doing everything and retiring. And obviously, like you said, your classroom is kind of like your mission, right? So
It
when you're
is.
when you're thinking about, the next or what you want to do with obviously your love of growth and connection and relationship, just to throw it out there, what would be something that you look at like when retirement, if retirement comes along, that you would love to use that time to do?
Probably something with youth and relationships. I mean, something a la BBBS, something like that. If if and when I'm out of the classroom, just to stay that, keep those connections and the relationships going. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm opening the door. I'm speaking that into the universe. That's something I want to do. And hopefully there'll be something like that where I can, you know, help children understand their worth and, empower them, because I don't know, sometimes I didn't feel very confident in myself. And so it's kind of one of those things where, I don't want any child to feel like I did in school or otherwise. So, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you go through some struggles, you don't want anybody else to, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
yep.
any opportunity that might afford me to be able to do that. And sky's the limit, I guess.
Yeah, and a little bit with when we think about our passions, it's like you just said, I'm opening that up and I'm saying something, the right
Mm-hmm.
thing is going to come. And I even feel like we can even do that, in the moment and I love the look on your face because you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm opening that up. It was like,
Yeah.
if we would just allow ourselves to even open up those ideas and look for those opportunities, it could be even something that we're working towards right now or we're bringing in right now. And it might not be 2, 3, 5 years down the road, but we're going, oh my gosh, I could.
Yes. 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 And even, I mean, teaching kids that growth mindset, it's never too soon to even have them start thinking like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the culture that you bring to your classroom. The kids obviously love you, and I think you're so great for the school's culture. And I love being in your vibe. And obviously, I've had you on hot seat now for 22 minutes, and I so appreciate you being a part of this. But I like to give you guys the opportunity to ask me a question too, almost like a haha, now I get to ask you a question. So, I mean, it can be my favorite color. It can be where did I grow up? It can be what do I do all day? Whatever you would like to ask me, the table's open for you.
Oh, okay. Now, sometimes I'll say to my kids, okay, I think time is, okay, let me think. I need think time.
I'll adjust my French fries while you're thinking.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Honestly, how do you do everything that you do? How do you do that, Trienne? I don't know how you do all the things that you do. Because when I was explaining to my daughter, oh my gosh, this amazing lady asked me to be on her podcast. No, and I was telling her a little bit about what you do. How did you connect? How did you get? Okay, you asked. So how did you get to do these character ed classes in the school? Because I just love them so much. I actually pay attention, and that I follow up with things with them and the things that you do with them in the classroom.
I had another teacher say that to me too. She was like, well, I think that I think I might have a paper that's not right because it said that this week we were going to be doing this lesson and then we did this lesson instead. And it was just because, the schedule got mixed up or whatever. And she said, the reason I'm asking is because I always make sure that I take time to talk before you guys come in about what that lesson's going to be. And I'm like, oh, shoot, yes. So what's really interesting is, we own Ponderosa now. We're one of the part owners in that restaurant. But I worked there for 16 years before I was the general manager for about 7. And then I left because I got recruited by the Maurice's clothing company. So then I traveled around and I opened stores, and I love to travel and I love to teach and I love to do trainings. I actually always wanted to be a teacher. But
I could so see that.
I had to pay for school, so I couldn't take that semester to do student teaching without being able to work. So I was like, well, that's not able to happen. What's interesting is that now I teach just in a different way, right? So, which I think our passions come out eventually, just in a different way. So I worked for the Maurice's clothing company for like 7 or 8 years. And then I got approached by KCC, Kellogg Community College, to teach their service learning class there in Coldwater at the Grawl Center. And I'd always wanted to teach college. I was like, I want to do this, but it was more of I wanted to teach intro to business. So I approached my district manager at the time and I said, hey, I'd like to teach this class that they're offering me. However, in order for me to take the class and still have work-life balance with my family, I need to work 38 hours instead of 40 every week. And my district manager was like, nope, you have to be in the store 40 hours. So I said, well, I guess I have something to think about. And maybe 2 weeks later, I turned in my resignation. So when I turned in my resignation, I started doing some business consulting. And then Kim Hemker from the Shelter House said, I have these character ed position open, but it's only a part-time position. Is it something that you would be interested in doing? And the curriculum itself was already kind of mapped out from Karina, who worked in the position before me. We really just put our own spin on it. And, I've been doing it now for 6 years. So there's been a different flow to the lessons. We've kind of made them our own. So in that meantime, I get the opportunity, like I said in the intro, I get to be in my kids' school. It's not my long-term goal to do character ed, although right now I love it. And there is not going to be anyone in the world that is going to teach you the kind of speaker that you are, like a kindergartner for 30 minutes.
So true. So true.
So it's been some wonderful on-the-job learning that I've been able to use in my coaching business, and then without this opportunity for character ed, we never would have gotten the opportunity for the restaurant. So I just feel like it was very divine timing. I feel like it gives my girls a little bit of confidence to know even one day a week I'm in the classroom. And I can't tell you how much I love the kids at Quincy School. They are the sweetest, kindest, warmest, and the teachers are amazing. It's such a wonderful opportunity. And during that COVID time when, volunteers and parents sometimes weren't even allowed to come in the school, the fact that I still was able to because of my job, it was totally a blessing.
Yeah, I know. It's my 3rd year and I still want to pinch myself. I love who I work with, the 3rd grade team. We're the squad. I love them so much. And the students are fantastic. I couldn't agree. And administration, it's just a great place to be. I love it here.
We've formed some really great relationships with the teachers in general, and then the community, in general, which is great. The other thing that I look at is I always told Kim, I said, I'll stay and do character ed until Blake goes into 5th grade. So that would give me another 3 years. But then Taylor and I were talking, and of course, Taylor, my partner, her son is in kindergarten there. And she's like, no, you're not out.
That's so awesome.
And I don't know how I would necessarily step away from those kids. I love them so much.
And the purpose by which I just, on some level, can you think of anything more impactful, And not all the schools have this. I'm so thankful that you guys come in and do this. I look forward to it, not just because I get to sit and watch you do your thing, but because I know how impactful it is, and it's so meaningful, and it matters. It matters. I'm so thankful for the kids because lots of times, we teachers, there's so much curriculum. There's so much. And as much as we all would love to talk about some of the topics that you guys cover, like conflict resolution and peer pressure and kindness and gratitude, of course I weave it in as much as I can, but to have that space held for it is so cool.
Yeah. And, again, you guys are making such an impact every day with those students. And I'm so appreciative of the cultures that you put into your classroom. And I'm really appreciative of you coming on here today, because I know this was a stretch in the comfort zone for you. However, the cool thing is everyone who's been through Intentional Women Making an Impact gets pre-approval in the group. So you know what? If there's more brilliance about teaching or relationships or connecting that you'd like to share with our group, you are always welcome to share posts inside Female Leader Headquarters also.
Fun. That would be awesome. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you so much again for being on today. I'm going to let a million of us connect with you probably after this goes live and everybody gets the chance to see what you guys are doing there. And I want to thank everybody for being a part of Intentional Women Making an Impact, and we'll see you on the next series. Bye-bye.